Hello, so today we would be talking about the DAAD, that is DAAD, okay? And it stands for Development Related Postgraduate Courses, okay? This is a fully funded scholarship from the German government, okay? But before we would talk about that, we would have to apply for a master's scholarship, okay? The thing with that is that they sponsor a master's program. However, most of the deadlines for the programs have elapsed. However, there is this one program that still has a deadline this February and it hasn't ended yet. So I would like to talk about the program, how you can apply for the program, and then we would come to how you can get a DAAD scholarship for this program. Okay, so without wasting much time, we would get straight into the video. But then if this is the first time you are watching any video on this channel, you are gladly welcome. I would encourage you to hit on the subscription button and then the post notifications so that anytime I release a new video, you would be the first to be notified. I am sure you are definitely going to find a video that is worth watching. All right, let's get straight into the video. So we are on the homepage of Academy. Academy is a university in Germany, and then this is the program I was talking about. This is a master's degree in international media studies, that is media management, journalism, development, cooperation. Okay, so this is the master's course that we would be talking about today. We would be looking at how you can apply for this master's course, the things that you need, and then once we are on the tuition fees, we would switch to the DAAD scholarship and see how you can be able to apply for that scholarship. Okay, so this is the program, International Media Studies. Okay, so now let's look at the application. Okay, so let's look at the application. Okay, so this program is targeted at students from around the world that want to work in a position of responsibility in journalism or the communications sector. It especially addresses journalists in training, media representatives from radio, TV, online, and print, and communication experts. Those interested must have completed an academic program, that is a bachelor's degree or equivalent, and have acquired at least 1 year of professional experience in a media-related field after their first degree. So the program is especially targeted at media representatives from radio, TV, online, and print, journalists in training, especially from electronic media, journalists and management from community radio stations, community experts, NGO employees, employees from ministries, employees from cooperative development groups and projects, representatives from regional working groups and national broadcasters, and then media association representatives. Okay, so let's look at the English language requirements for this course before we look at the documents that you would need to apply for this course. So this is a frequently asked question when it comes to the English language requirements. Okay, so the question is, I studied at an English university. Is this sufficient proof of my language skills? Yes, but only if you completed your entire degree in English itself. Semesters spent abroad do not count. If you have completed your previous university degree in English, you should submit a written official confirmation that English was the medium of instruction as proof of your English language skills. Okay, so what this statement basically implies that once you had your studies in an English speaking country, be it Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Malawi, any other English speaking country, or your university education was in English, all you need is an English proficiency letter from your university, and that suffices for your English language requirements. You do not have to write IELTS, TOEFL, or any Cambridge English examination, and that is it. So you are exempted from the English language test. Okay, so that is it. So now let's look at how you can apply for this program. Okay, so mind you, I would be inserting all the relevant links in the description so that navigation and then application as well can be very, very easy and then straight to the point for you. Okay, So now let's look at the documents that you would need to apply for this program. Only online applications are accepted for this program. Okay, so before entering your data into the online application form, please make sure you have all the following documents required for the application ready. Okay, so first and foremost, you need your letter of motivation, and it must be in English, a maximum of 700 words. That is approximately 2 pages, so just bear that in mind. The font must be Arial, the size must be 10, and then the spacing must be 1.5, and then it has to be dated, so keep that in mind. Then you need your current CV, and it has to be in the Europass format. Don't worry, just check the relevant links in my description. You are going to find a link to a video on how you can generate your Europass CV in like a few minutes. In 5 minutes, you would be done. You also need your academic degree certificate, including your transcripts. Okay, so your university certificate as well as your transcript. Then the next thing that you need is proof of at least 1 year's professional experience in a media related field after obtaining your first academic degree. For a scholarship, you must provide proof of at least 2 years of professional experience. Okay, so if you want to obtain the DAAD scholarship, then you need at least 2 years professional experience. Okay, so you can submit a certificate or letter from your employer as proof of work experience. Please make sure it includes your media related job title, the dates from and to when you worked in that position, company letterhead, date of issue of the certificate or letter, and a signature from your employer. If you were self-employed or worked on media projects, please see the frequently asked question. Okay, so if you were self-employed, you can click on this frequently asked question and you would see what you would have to provide. But basically, you just need a letter or a certificate from your employer to show that you have work experience, and we would be applying for the DAAD scholarship. So you need at least 2 years professional experience. Okay, then if you are from China, India, or Vietnam, you need a certificate of EPOS. Okay, and then proof of sufficient English language skills. We have already spoken about the English language skills. All you need is an English proficiency letter from your university, and with that you are good to go. Okay, so now there are tuition fees for this program. Okay, so tuition fees for the postgraduate and 4-semester master program will cost a total of 6,000 euros. Okay, however, there is a limited number of scholarships available. Okay, so there are scholarships available. Do not think of the 6,000 euros as scholarships are available, and that is the scholarship we would be talking about. Okay, so this is the scholarship. The German Academic Exchange Service, DAAD, offers a limited number of scholarships to up to 10 highly qualified applicants from developing countries. Okay, so the scholarship covers the cost of living and accommodation, the tuition fees, and the inbound flight to Bonn will also be covered. A committee will decide which applicants are to receive a scholarship after the application deadline has elapsed. Okay, scholarship recipients will write their master's thesis and complete the degree in their home country. Okay, the current call for applications and necessary application documents for the scholarship for an EPOS study can be found on the DAAD website. Okay, so we are about to go to the DAAD website, but then let's look at the deadline for this program before we move to the DAAD website, and then we look at the requirements. Then we see how you can apply for this program as well as the scholarship. Okay, let's look at the deadline now. So the deadline for this program is 29 February. Okay, 29 February is the deadline for this program. That is, applications for the fall intake of the IMS master's degree are now open until February 29, 2024. So now let's move to the DAAD page, and let's see how we can also apply for the DAAD scholarship as part of our application process. After that, we would go to the application portal, and then we would see how you can complete the whole application process. Okay, so let's see an overview of the DAAD. Okay, with its development oriented postgraduate study programs, the DAAD promotes the training of specialists from development and newly industrialized countries, well-trained local experts who are networked with international partners play an important role in the sustainable development of their countries. They are the best guarantee for a better future with less poverty, more education, and health for all. The scholarships offer foreign graduates from development and newly industrialized countries from all disciplines and with at least 2 years professional experience the chance to take a postgraduate or master's degree at a state or state recognized German university, and in exceptional cases to take a doctoral degree and to obtain a university qualification, that is a master's or PhD in Germany. Okay, who can apply? Graduates with at least 2 years professional experience from the following countries. Okay, so let's look at the list of the eligible countries. Okay, so now we load the list of eligible countries, and of course we have a whole list of countries here, but then I'm going to focus on sub-Saharan Africa, where the likes of Congo, Comoros, Djibouti, Equatorial Guinea, Gambia, Gabon, Ghana, Guinea, Malawi, Mali, Mauritania, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Uganda, Togo, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, and the likes are. Of course, you can always check the countries to see if your country is included. Okay, so right now we know our various countries are included, and now let's look at the funded programs. Okay, so this is the list of all the postgraduate courses with application deadlines for 2024 to 2025. Of course, like I said earlier on, the deadline for most of these programs have already elapsed. The program that is still open is what we are talking about, but then if the DAAD scholarship opens again, I will definitely make a video to let you know about the courses that you can apply to. But today we are focusing on the international masters in media and media management. Okay, so the funding is from 12 months to 42 months, is dependent on the study program. And now let's look at the value of the scholarship. Okay, so depending on the academic level, monthly payments of 934 euros for graduates or 1,300 euros for doctoral candidates. Okay, so if you are studying for a master's degree, you are going to get 934 euros per month, and then you are going to get 1,300 euros if you are a doctoral candidate. Okay, there's also payments towards your health, accident, and personal liability insurance cover. There's also travel allowance unless these expenses are covered by the home country or another source of funding. Under certain circumstances, the scholarship holders may receive the following additional benefits, that is monthly rent subsidy and then monthly allowance for accompanying members of family. Okay, so if you are moving with your family, you can also get a monthly allowance. Okay, so this is the value of the scholarship. You can read more about the selection process after you have applied, but then our focus here is on the application requirements and then the application procedure. Okay, so now let's look at the application procedure. Okay, so depending on chosen study program, please check scholarship brochure or the website of your chosen program. Remember, we've already been to the website of the chosen program, and then the deadline is on the 29th of February. Okay, so let's look at the application documents. Okay, applications have only to be sent to the respective course directly. So we are applying to the school directly. Okay, please refer to their respective websites for the application process. Okay, for the application deadline and documents to be submitted, applications sent to the DAAD will not be forwarded to the respective course or university. Okay, so it's stating clearly here that you must apply directly to the university, and we have looked at all the requirements of the university. So we would be going to the application platform very soon. Okay, so you can apply for up to 3 courses. Okay, but then we are looking at only this course because this is the only course that is available now. Okay, the other courses, the deadlines have elapsed. So let's look at the application documents. So first and foremost, you need an application checklist. Okay, a signed and completed application checklist. So now we just click on the checklist and then it loads for us. So this is the checklist, that is the mandatory documents that have to be submitted to apply for a scholarship. Okay, to apply for the DAAD scholarship. So you just download this checklist and then you make sure that you take all the relevant things that you have to take. Already we have discussed most of these documents in the requirements for the program already. So just download this checklist, write your name, and then take all the necessary and relevant areas that you have to take. Okay, so now that you have your checklist, next thing that you need is the DAAD application. Okay, so the first one is a checklist, and then the next one is the DAAD application form. Okay, so all you have to do now is just click on that application, and then it takes you to the form. You download the form, and then you fill in the details. Okay, mind you, it is written in German and then in English. Okay, so you can see your name and then your nationality and then the rest. Don't get confused. You see German and then you see English. Make sure that you fill in this form as well. It's going to be part of your application. Okay, so once you fill the DAAD form, now you need your CV, and then the CV, like I already said, it has to be in EPOS template. We spoke about it. Then the next thing that you need is your CV in reverse chronological order without any unexplained gaps, and then mind you, it has to be in a EPOS template. Then the next thing that you need is one letter of motivation with detailed reference to academic, professional, and personal reasons for applying for the program. Okay, so mind you, some of the documents are overlapping with the documents that you need to apply for the master's program. Don't get confused. Since you are applying on the same application platform, you just upload that one document. So you don't need a different CV for the DAAD scholarship and a different CV for the program. Okay, you're applying on the same platform, so don't get confused. Okay, so that has its required documents, and then the school has its own required documents. Some of the documents overlap, so once they overlap, then you just take them as one document. But if they do not overlap, like for example, the checklist is different, the school doesn't have that checklist, so you just add it to your application. So let's move on. Okay, you need a letter of recommendation from your current employer. The letter must include the official letterhead, signature, and official stamp, and must be of current date, okay? Not in a sealed envelope, okay? So just bear that in mind. Okay, and then you need a certificate of employment from your employer showing at least 2 years of relevant work experience after your bachelor's degree program. Okay, and then you also need a guarantee of free employment from your current employer upon returning home. So that has to be stated in the letter. The certificate of employment from the current employer should, if possible, include a guarantee of re-employment after returning to the home country. Okay, so you need a proof of language skills. Like I said, you need an English proficiency letter from your university to suffice for your language skills. Then a copy of your higher education degree certificates, and then a copy of your full set of transcripts of records. Okay, and then if you are from China, you are asked to submit an EPOS certificate with your application documents. Okay, so these are the documents that you need. Some of the documents overlap with the documents that you need for your master's application, but don't get confused, they are all in one, since the application is going to be on one platform. So now let's read some important things that you need to note. Okay, so some courses may require additional documents. For detailed information, please see the relevant course description in the brochure and on the respective website. We have already looked at the documents of the school. Okay, so now the complete applications have to be submitted in English or German to be considered. Of course, we are doing it in English. Incomplete applications cannot be considered. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Now let's look at the application and selection procedure. Okay, so you send your complete applications directly to the according postgraduate course. Okay, then the second thing is that the selection committee suggests potential candidates for a DAAD scholarship. The third step is that the suggested candidates will be contacted by DAAD to upload their complete application to the DAAD portal. Okay, and then the fourth thing is that the selection process will be finalized, and then the suggested candidates will be informed accordingly. Okay, so first and foremost, you have to apply to the school. Once you apply to the school, then a selection committee is going to select the candidates. Okay, and once the candidates are selected, then you'll be invited to apply to the DAAD portal. Okay, so that is why I was telling you not to get confused with the documents. Okay, so once you finish applying to the school, the DAAD portal is also going to be open for you once you are selected, and then you can upload your documents, your DAAD documents there as well, and that is it. You are good to go. Okay, so now let's go straight to the application portal. Okay, so this is in German, so let's scroll down and then let's change it to English. So once you open the platform and it is in German, you just scroll down and then you just change it to English. Okay, So it reloads and then it changes to English, and then you can start with your registration. Once you register, you can start applying for your international masters in media and then journalism, and then you are good to go. After that, once you qualify for the DAAD scholarship, you would be invited, and then you can submit your documents there as well. Okay, so this is how you can apply for your DAAD scholarship when it comes to a master's program in international media studies. I wish you all the best in your application, and I'll definitely catch you on the flip side. Stay blessed, and I am out.